driving around Rochester, and there's the Kodak building in the foreground there. This used to be a very vibrant industrial town with Kodak and Xerox and Bausch & Lomb, and as you can tell, it's quite depressed. A lot of empty stores, as all these companies have gotten smaller necessarily. They're trying to figure out ways to revive Rochester, which is going to be a tough thing to do, I think, as time goes on, but you never know. Here's a Kodak building coming down, actually, and they're reclaiming the spots for parkland and things like that to get a tax break to cut costs at the company. Again, more Kodak Park, which was quite massive in its day, and now is slowly being dismantled as the company shrinks in size in order to get back to profitability and relevance over time. Here's where more than 100,000 employees work, and now you can see in the distance this is a building they just imploded and are reclaiming it for parklands and various things, which they used to make film at, they used to make paper, chemicals, all sorts of things. And as you can see, creative destruction to create again. Okay, this is the iconic Kodak building in downtown Rochester. It's a little frightening. And Nancy, you said what happens? The peregrine
falcons every year nest up there and have their fledglings. And
really?
For like 3 months, this place is a tourist attraction.
Wow.
There's a bird cam that people watch over the web to see the falcons.
A bird cam?
Yeah.
Wow. Is it a Kodak bird cam?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Line up here in the.
Don't use any of those Japanese things.
They
Anyway.
line up here in the parking lot with their big lenses and take pictures.
Pictures. Wow. Look at this thing.
Been here
Very
many
famous
years.
icon of modern American business history. This is the Kodak lobby as we're going in. Kodak. There we go. Okay, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Phil.
Phil, what do you do, Phil? You can't just be
I manage the consumer digital group for Kodak.
Okay, now what are the big challenges for Kodak? You know, most people have been reading about Kodak lately in the restructuring, the redoing, the downsizing.
Yeah, we've been going through a substantial restructuring as we've moved from the traditional to digital businesses. I actually think the underlying piece of that people may not understand is this also very big is we were a vertically integrated, complete manufacturing all the way to end consumer delivery vehicle in the traditional days. As a matter of fact, if you took some retailers, we actually had Kodak employees that were embedded in the retailer that actually did the film development and processing and printing.
Right.
So we've moved from that very vertically integrated traditional model to a digital model. This is the last year where we're completing that restructuring. It's a major, major endeavor for us. It's still got work to do to finish the year and complete it. But from that point in time on, we basically have a digital company. We have an operating model that we've put in place across the company. And our focus is going to be on how do we grow that business and how do we grow that business.
What's the biggest area for you guys right now? Would you say?
We have several product lines, as you're probably well aware. Our digital capture and devices portfolio under John Blake.
That would be a camera.
Is one of our major product lines. So that includes cameras. That includes the work we're doing with mobile.
Right.
That includes snapshot printers, and that includes a few other accessory products, as well as our new picture frames. So it's a big business. It's one of our, let's say, 4 or 5 largest businesses. Our plate setting and plate business is another large business for us as a company. Our retail printing business is a very substantial business for us as a company. And then we have a number of new investment, new initiatives, which provide us growth in the future.
Right. So Kodak, which was the premier film company essentially, a lot of people wrote about Xerox, Kodak, all these companies that didn't make the transition into digital. What's the hardest part in getting that to happen at a company like?
You have 3 challenges. The challenge I mentioned about the vertically integrated, to go into the digital world at this point in time, you can't do it at a vertically organized, vertically integrated structure.
Flickr's not going to start here. I mean, that kind of
thing.
You're
not going to go, well, no, you're not going to go start and make your own microprocessors,
right.
And you're not going to make your own sensors, and you're not going to make your own every device that goes into a camera. You can't afford that kind of vertical structure. So moving from a vertical operating structure to one where you're working with major partners is a major cultural, if you will, transitionary shift. And, that shift I think we've made, very well. The restructuring costs associated with assets don't all repurpose. very expensive transition, difficult for us to do it, and to do it in a really nice way. Um, if I look at other companies that have taken major parts of their business, thrown them into bankruptcy, and basically exited, that would be a tough way to do that from a customer, from an employee, from a number of different standpoints. So, I think we've done that restructuring, if you will, very well. Another issue for us in making that transition is we've had lots of rich technologies that we've invested on over the years. You have to have a mechanism for picking which ones that you're going to focus on and
Right.
that you're going to stay with.
Right.
And that process itself has been a difficult process because we're in a tight financial constraint of how do we deal with restructuring while we're also going after growth. And so I always feel like I've got one foot on the gas pedal, one foot on the brake. The foot on the brake, trying to deal with putting in place the operating structure and the operating model and the capabilities we need, and not having other capabilities that we don't need or some of the
Right.
legacy systems. Other foot on the gas pedal about how do we accelerate the rate of products and capabilities that we need to bring out so that we
Well,
can compete
Phil,
in digital.
don't crash, Phil. Don't
Yeah.
crash.
Yeah.